talent will take you there, but attitude will keep you there.
That's right.
Reason being, to some reasonable facts, I've seen players that are good in what they do, but attitude had always taken them off their grades. And I've seen players that are not that perfect in what they do, but attitude has kept them there.
Alright guys, so today on Abujawaka story, I've got one of football managers here in Nigeria, and he goes by the name Gbemiga Samuel. Hi.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you here.
And you too. So how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. So tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm Samuel Gbemiga, just like you said, international sports agent.
Right.
Yeah, just like in the previous interviews, you know, everything has to do with passion.
Right.
Yeah, football is something I've done before now, and I just thought of how to mature what I've been doing before now, and that's what prompted me being a sport manager.
Okay, so would you, what's your educational background like?
Yeah, I studied computer science, and afterwards had some professional programs, both in sport management and what have you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me, how's it been for you going out to manage these guys?
Yeah, you know, football management as a whole has always been a difficult task. From the sporting of these players, the proper marketing, proper negotiations, you know. So it has been a head, but this is what I've chosen to do. So I have to pull up some skills, and it's been good also.
Okay, so like how many players have you managed since you decided to start this professionally?
Oh, yeah, by virtue of record, we've moved players in ratio of, let me say, 4 to 5. Some professional players, among which is Antonio Potu of Lobby Stars, 2018-2019 Premiership highest goal scorer. He was in El Jadidi, but now he's in Qatar. CS Qatar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, how is the business side of managing people? Is it a lucrative one? Do you make money, or you just do it for passion?
Football business, so long I'm concerned, has been the best. These are my reasons. You can't have the best out of these players when there is not anything that has to do with monetary aspect of it. In the sense, these players are moving out, there are some level of percentage are coming to you as a manager.
Right.
When all these are being connected together, you tend to have even what I think you can't even have when you're doing a collar jobs. So long I'm concerned, football management has been the best, and it's more lucrative than how anyone can see it. As what you are achieving from these players as contract fee, commission fee, developmental fee, putting all this together, come on, you're a big shot.
Oh, so I'm sitting next to a big shot. You should buy me lunch after this interview. Okay, so I like to ask, how long have you been in the business? Like deciding to go professional, how long?
Yeah, it's something I've been doing for some time now, but I make it much more professional and more official some 3 years back.
Okay.
Yeah, after the transfer with Antonio Potu, which to some extent gave me some level of limelight, some level of exposure, which after then I've been able to move 1 or 2 players, understand? Because in choosing a player, you have to, maybe if you're starting with the grassroots players now, there's professionals, there are semi-amateur players, semi-professionals, and professional footballers, understand? Like in players development now, what I really see key in players development is how to mature an amateur player to a level of semi-professional player and a professional footballer. This is what I do in this sense. I most times organize a grassroots scouting programs, which by virtue of record, we'll be able to bring in some white guys from Dubai, from Ireland, and some other things. Even some programs are being held here in Abuja. Understand? These guys come in, take a look of these players, have a pre-match among these players, get the best out of them. Understand? Which now this club in question now take responsibility of all the costs that involve these players. And one thing that I think is the most lucrative among these positions is a striking position. Reason being, as a striker, you have the leverage of earning more or having a more better contract than when you're dealing with midfielders or attackers. I wouldn't say the whole positions don't sell, but strikers sell most. because that's what we call appearance fee for strikers. That's what we call goal bonuses. That's what we call assist bonuses. If you as a striker have all these qualities, you make good money. Understand? So in choosing a player, first what I look into is a formidable striker who can at any point in time make a runs, make a good position, and have the goals. Understand? So in doing this, in choosing my players, I think I do more of strikers, striking position than maybe of midfielder and defense line. So I think striking position is the best.
I'm thinking of going into the football business. So striking is a good. It's going to be lucrative, Abby.
It's going to be lucrative. I can assure you, it is 100.
That's on record. All right. So tell me, is attitude very important to you when picking players or when picking people you want to send overseas?
Beautiful. I was coming to this. I've always said something. In my choice of choosing the players, I think I go with attitude 80% than even you're playing. These are my reasons. That is saying that talent will take you there, but attitude will keep you there.
That's right.
Reason being, to some reasonable facts, I've seen players that are good in what they do, but attitude had always taken them off their grades. And I've seen players that are not that perfect in what they do, but attitude has kept them there. As a player, when you're on a trial process, your mode of communication, how you react to the captain of the team might keep you in the team more than your play. So once I'm working with players, the first thing I look into or work towards is how to develop your attitude. Even in professional settings, they normally have psychologists that work on their attitude, on and off the pitch. How you interact with press, how you interact with your fellow teammates, how you talk to fans. These are very important things that most footballers don't understand. And reason being is because footballers these days always think that, hey, come on, I'm good in what I do. Why should I have good attitude? So in my choosing of players, I think attitude comes first before even the play.
Okay, so I like to ask, does physical attributes make one qualified to be picked? Like your physique, how you look, your height, your stature, your body type. Okay, beautiful. Is it a criteria to be picked?
Yeah, to some extent, yes. And my reasons for saying this is, it's all dependent on in which country you're moving these players to. Understand? Some countries work more with players that got good physics. While other countries, it doesn't really matter. It just depends on your style of play. Okay, let me take EPL for instance, English Premier League. It's a very fast league. So irrespective of your height, you can as well be in such a league. But when it comes to Scandinavian country, Norway, Sweden, what have you need players with good height. And most African countries also, because of their level of play. So in such a case, I've put up this to myself. Whenever I'm bringing in scouts, what I do is that I ask them, hey, what kind of player do you want? What are the tests of your players? And I also make my own research on my own. Do they want players with good physics? Do they want players that are fast? Do they want players that are creative? And so these are the basics that help in scouting programs. And to some extent, this has always helped and it has made us move players in their numbers.
Okay. Yep. So tell me, have you had regrets ever deciding to do this managerial role?
No. For one day, I never. And just like I said in the previous questions, this is what I've always loved doing. Even in my playing days, I put it up to myself, if it's not football, it's not football. And one thing I like about this work mostly is that it's not just what people say it to be, it's a professional work.
Right.
It's something that you have to develop yourself. You have licensing, you have to get licensed before you can move players. You have to get approval from the Nigerian Football Federations. So if this work is this professional, why should I regret doing it? No.
Okay, when I mean regrets, let's say maybe encounter with footballers, you manage these guys directly, maybe one or two of them must have given you reasons to say, I regret doing this with you or something. That's the angle I'm coming from.
Oh, great. Yeah, it has happened severally. Situation whereby you move a player, sometimes out of trust, maybe someone I've been with before, we've worked before, okay, hey guy, come and go to this place. These players sometimes get there and things change. Understand? Not as a professional, you don't know what to do. But sometimes out of trust, even when it has to do with maybe you're in business, sometimes you don't have to trust anyone. You have to go more professional, more, how should I put it, documented about it. But I've worked with players most times. One happened over recent, I want to call his name. He applied with an embassy. Because it's been delayed because of COVID-19, this player asked me to go and withdraw his passport. Can you imagine that? This is where I've wasted resources, time, contacts. So to some extent, or a situation whereby you talk to a player, he accepts going to a country. Afterward, he comes and says he's not going anymore, you know. And just like we talked about contact the other time, stuff like this limits contacts. It put a gaps between you and your contact. So it has been a source of effect for some times now, and that's just the regret I think I have. But as a man, I want to move on.
Yeah.
You can't have something like this without setbacks.
That's true.
What makes you a strong man? After this setback, you move ahead.
Okay. So for the likes of people who might want to take up this kind of career, right? How much of football do you think they need to know? Because from the way I'm totally lost. Even if I know football a little, but you've been saying some kind of things, yeah? So how much of football do you think they should know? Do you think it's an everyday thing? Is it something you study? Is it to watch these guys play? Or is it research based on research or something? How much of football do you have to know to excel in this role?
I always say something, right? Football administration is way different from the playing. There are two different things. There are two different perspectives. The reason being, you can't get the best out of this business if you don't know a little of football.
Right.
Where knowing football as a thing comes in is you being able to identify good players. I play football. I should know when someone is good.
Right.
I should know when someone can be prospective in this football thing. And comes down to the administrative aspect of football. That's where research comes in. Football administration, because FIFA changes their rules, their intermediary rules, their laws almost every 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. So for you to meet up to the fashion of things, you have to keep updating yourself. So in such a case, you need a little of the playing itself, then maybe more of research to be able to do this job.
Okay.
Yeah, my convictions though.
So it's possible for one to be a player and also a football administrator at the same time, or a manager at the same time.
There are ethics governing that.
Okay.
It's not accepted by FIFA, whereby someone will be active in football and still run football management. It's not done. Or maybe you're part of a team, a club director, a club president. You can't go into agency work. It's not. It's against FIFA ethics. 100. Yeah.
Okay. So I like you to look at the guys who are watching you and who might want to take up a career and tell them something. Tell them something.
All right, guys out there, like you've heard me say it, this had to do with mindsets, because in the process of doing this, there should be many setbacks. Sometimes you call names like you won't succeed. But we can see the like of Mendes, Rayola, Zinhavi, they started this way. Today, they've been able to negotiate for Ronaldo, negotiate for Messi, negotiate for Neymar, and they're making good money. You know what it is for you to strike a deal of about 100,000 euros, 10 million euros, and get 10% of it? It's a big shot. So I'm encouraging you out there, you can make it only if you want to. Thank you all.
All right, guys, so this is about it on our football agenda. Stay connected. We'll bring to you more and more interviews.